Hello Year 6 and welcome to Tuesday's maths lesson with me, Miss Watson. Now today we're going to be describing position. Let's look at what we're going to be doing. Okay, so our learning intention is to be able to describe positions on a full coordinate grid. Now we'll talk more about what one of those is in a minute. Let's first see what Hannah is saying in our in focus task. So here we've got this gentleman who is a bird watcher, and we can see we have a pink bird and a blue bird. So we need to think about how we can describe the position of the two birds from the gentleman. Okay, so if you were going to turn to your partner and describe where the pink bird is in relation to the bird watcher, you might say the pink bird is left of the bird watcher. And you can also see that Hannah has actually given us a little key showing us that 1 centimetre is representing 1 metre. So if we were to use our ruler, we could measure how far the pink bird is to the left of the bird watcher. And if you do that now, give you a couple of seconds to do that, you should have found that actually the bird was 8 centimetres away from the bird watcher. Okay, you can then use that key as well to work out where the blue bird is and what position the blue bird is in relation to the bird watcher. And you may say the blue bird is 5 metres away from the bird watcher. Okay, but is there a way that we could describe both the position and the direction at the same time? Have a little think about that, and we'll see if any of our friends have come up with an answer. Okay, so let's learn. Ruby has come up with an idea that may be able to help us work out the position and the direction at the same time. So here we can see that the old man, who is the bird watcher, is 8 centimetres, which stands for 8 metres away from the pink bird in a certain direction. So therefore we can say the bird watcher is at x equals 0. Now when we're looking at a grid, you may remember that the y-axis goes up and down, it goes vertically, and the x-axis goes across from left to right. Now, a good way of remembering that is a cross is like the symbol of X, and sky, if you think about going up to the sky, ends in Y. That's quite a helpful way. Now, there is also the way to remember which coordinate you use first, and you always, I find this little expression quite helpful to go along the corridor and up the stairs. So you always write the x-axis coordinate first and then the y. Okay, and that's the same with when you're plotting on a graph, but we'll come on to that in a second. So Ruby thinks that a coordinate grid would help the bird watcher, and if we were to say that he was in the middle of the grid, he would be at 0 on the x-axis, and he would also be at 0 on the y-axis, right in the middle. And we can say that the bird watcher is at x equals 0 and the bird is at x equals minus 8, because if we're counting from 0 to the left, we'll be going into negative numbers. So on the x-axis, that would be minus 8, where the pink bird is. Okay, now we've talked about the pink bird. Now we're going to have a look at where the blue bird is in relation to the bird watcher. And we have Sam here to help us. Okay, so the blue bird is 5 metres from the bird watcher in another direction. We can say the bird watcher is at y. So again, we're looking at the y-axis going vertically up and down from the blue bird to the bird watcher, and they are both on the y-axis. Now he's right in the middle, so he's at 0 on the x and the y-axis. Okay, and the blue bird, therefore, would be, if we count from that 0, where the bird watcher is, down -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. It takes us to -5. We've moved 5 spaces down on the y-axis, so the bird is at y equals -5 on the y-axis. Okay, So let's have a look at this. We can use, Ravi is helping us and so is Lulu. And Ravi is saying that we can use a coordinate grid, which will help us describe both position and direction at the same time. Okay, so the pink bird is on the x-axis and it's at -8 on the x-axis, and y is at 0 on the y-axis. So again, we're starting with the x coordinate, which is -8, and the bird hasn't gone above 0, so the y-axis is 0. So it's the coordinates for where the bird is, we would write as -8, 0, and we write those in brackets. Okay, we're now going to look at the blue bird, and the blue bird, if we look along the x-axis, we can see that that bird, the blue bird, is 0. It's at 0. It hasn't gone right and it hasn't gone left. It stayed exactly in line with the 0. So it's on the x-axis 0. Okay, we're now going to look at the y-axis, which is the vertical line. So if we counted down from 0, we're going to count down and we can see that it's at -5 on the y-axis. So the coordinates for where the blue bird is 0, -5. Now Lulu is going to tell us the coordinates of where the bird watcher is, and he's exactly there in the middle, and on the x-axis he's at 0, and also on the y-axis where the x and the y-axis cross over, he is right there. So we would write his coordinates as 0, 0. Okay, now we're coming on to guided practice, and you can see that we have some letters, and well done to those of you who've spotted that they actually spell out the word maths. Okay, so I'd like you to have a go at finding the coordinates for the letter M, and you can see that there where the red M is, and we're looking at where the circle is below the M. Can you give me the coordinates for that? Okay, so you should have written down, if we're looking on the x-axis, because we go along the corridor first, so across left to right, we can see that M is at -4. Now, if we now look at where that is on the y-axis, we can see that, in fact, that M hasn't gone up or down, it's stayed on exactly on the y-axis, and it is at 0. So your coordinates for that should be -4, 0. Moving on to point A. Again, we always do our x-axis first, and then we do our y-axis. So have a go at that one. Okay, so you should have got that on the x-axis, it's at 0, and on the y-axis, it is at -3. So the coordinates you have there should have been 0, -3. Have a go at T now. Okay, and for T again, still at 0 on the x-axis, so we would write down 0, and on the y-axis it's 2. So the coordinates for T are 0, 2. Okay, now we're going to have a look at H. Have a go. Okay, and hopefully for H you wrote down the coordinates of 3, which is showing us where it is on the x-axis, and it's neither up or down, so it's going to be 0 on the y-axis. So the coordinate should be 3, 0. And finally, we're going to find out the coordinates for S. You haven't had a go, try and have a quick go now. Well done to those of you who got the coordinates as 0, 0. Excellent, good work. Okay, now it's your turn, but I'm going to go through some of the first questions. The first ones we'll go through together before you start doing some independent work. Okay, so what are the coordinates of point P? Remembering what we've just done, have a quick go now yourself. Okay, so remember we always write down the x coordinate first. So our answer should have been for P -3, and then we can see that the P hasn't gone up or down, so it's going to be -3, 0. We'll have a quick go at B, and then I'm going to let you have a go on your own. Okay, so for E, you should have seen that on the x-axis, it's on 0. So it would, for E, the coordinates would be 0. And then if we count up the y-axis, we can see it's at 5. So 0, 5 is your answer for B. Good luck with the rest. Remember, if you have any questions, I will be around on Google Classroom for both classes today, so please drop me a line if you're having any problems. See you next time. Bye.